Hi, my name is Paul Heaps, and I'm from Real Property Management, Southwest Michigan. And today we're going to talk about how to evict a tenant should the need arise. Whether this tenant is in New Buffalo or anywhere throughout Southwest Michigan, the rules are pretty much the same. Um, First of all, let me say evictions are no fun for anyone. If you can avoid them, that's usually the best way to go. But the fact of the matter is, sometimes with landlords and tenants, evictions are really the only thing you can do. So today I'm going to talk about the process. So the first thing that you do when a tenant stops paying their rent, you send them what's called a demand for possession. Some people call it a 7-day notice, where basically what it's doing is saying, okay, you haven't paid your rent, you have 7 days to pay, and if you don't pay, you may be evicted. So that's your first step. You do need to send that along with a certificate of mailing to show that it got mailed, so that's important. You always have to leave at least 2 days for mail. So what will happen is you'll send this out, and then you will wait 9 days until you do the next step. So you've got 7 days for the notice and then 2 days for mail. If the tenant still doesn't pay their rent after the 9 days, the next step is to actually file eviction papers. At this point, I recommend that you use a good eviction attorney, someone who's experienced in this and does a lot of evictions. Usually they can do them less expensively, and they just know the process well. So then once the eviction attorney files the eviction papers, typically what happens is the next step is you actually have a court date. The court date is usually a couple weeks out. So at this point in time, the tenant is probably 3 weeks behind at least. And so that goes to show you how the time can really add up. So if you can avoid eviction, that's definitely the best. Then once you have a court date, typically what will happen is the tenant will, sometimes they come and sometimes they don't. Typically the judge will enter a judgment for the landlord, providing everything is in order. And then once you have a judgment, there's another 10-day period that happens, which allows the tenant to get finally caught up or to move out. So, and that's the basic process. So if you kind of look at my time frame there, most of the time it takes somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks. So it can be kind of a long period of time where you're not collecting rent and that type of thing. So again, the most important thing is to thoroughly screen your tenants because evictions can be costly. In both the direct cost of the eviction itself and the lost rent while the eviction is taking place. So if you have any questions, this is something that we do handle. Feel free to call me or contact me in any way. I'm happy to help. And again, my name is Paul Heaps, and I'm from Real Property Management, Southwest Michigan.